Okay, I'm 5 days postpartum and I have gotten both boys down for a nap at the same time. So it is time to film the long-awaited video that I promised you guys about 5 days ago. Like an influencer, like so many of you guys have been asking for this video. No, really though. Several of you guys have been asking for tips and tricks of how to make labor go easier. And so I've been thinking about it for the last week when I was in the hospital and during Ollie's nap times and stuff, just thinking about what I loved about this time around, what was different from last time, how it changed my perspective, it changed my experience, and it was such a good experience that I knew for a fact I could not leave you guys in the dark. I wanted to give you all of the tips and tricks that I personally used that worked for me, because if for any reason it should work for you, I want to share that with you. So let's begin. The very first thing that I cannot emphasize enough, I'm using my hands, I'm not even Italian, but it's so good and it's so important that you have to use your hands. Physical and mental preparation. Physical and mental preparation from the very first day that you find out you're expecting, and once you absorb that information and you've shared it with your significant other and you have, gone through all of the stages, whether it be denial, anger, grief, there are a lot of emotions that come around when you learn that you're expecting a child. Excitement, fear, uncertainty, and once you move past all the hormonal emotions and you get into that, okay, let's do this thing, is the time to start preparing yourself mentally and physically for this new chapter in your life. The way that I prepared mentally this time around was very different than last time. This was my second child versus my first child, which completely changed my life. So I wasn't getting into the realm of parenthood, I was just adding an additional child into my parenthood. So my mental preparation was, how am I going to balance two babies that are under 2 years apart? How am I going to manage my house? How am I going to manage my relationship with my husband? How am I going to manage my ministry? How am I going to manage my career and my relationship with my current son? It's a lot to take in and a lot to absorb, but prayer helps. Asking for wise counsel from other mothers who are either young or old that also are in that current stage of having two young children or have gone through it, and asking for their advice, saying, hey, what do you recommend when I'm feeling overwhelmed? What's the best thing I can do? As far as physical preparation goes, oh my goodness, there are so many things you can do. And it varies based on which trimester you're in. So for your first trimester, I recommend, where did I put it? Let me see, here it goes. This is a tea I have been talking about on my Instagram for weeks now. It's red raspberry leaf. I don't know if you can see that or if it's backwards or what. It's the Traditional Medicinals raspberry leaf organic tea. You can take this anytime in your life, whether you're pregnant or not. It's really good for women's health. And this does not stimulate labor. What this does is it strengthens your uterus, and it basically is like a pre-workout for your uterus to prepare your body. And so I started drinking this, I want to say at 32 weeks. But you can start drinking it from your first trimester. It all depends on what you want to do. I took it at least once a day. I steeped 2 bags in a large tumbler, and I added ice and I added sweetener, and it was a sweet tea that I drank every day. It's very herbal. It's not like a raspberry tea. It doesn't taste like raspberry tea. It just tastes like a black tea, like a weakened black tea, like a breakfast tea. So that's one of the things I did to prepare my body physically, and I honestly think it really helped. It helped produce productive contractions. My body wasn't just contracting Braxton Hicks purposelessly, but my body was saying, hey, I've done this before. I know how to do 100 push-ups, and so instead of doing 100 where I'm used to it, I'm gonna go for 200 and actually make me stronger. The second thing I did to prepare physically was using evening primrose oil. I didn't buy a special kind. I didn't buy an organic brand. I didn't buy something that was $40. This was $7.99 at Target. And it's the Up and Up brand evening primrose oil. This one is not to be used before 34 to 36 weeks. You do not want to use this in your first or second trimester. And you may think, well, I want to be extra prepared. No, this one can actually not stimulate labor, but it prepares your cervix in a way that could put you in a place where premature labor could begin, and you do not want to do that. So I believe I started this at around 35 to 36 weeks. The capsules are, about this large. And if you want to know how I use these, go ahead and DM me, or you can Google it. But I used 2 capsules nightly, every night, or at least 3 times a week. So in the beginning, first couple of weeks, 35, 36, and 37 weeks, I did not use it nightly. I used it about once every other night or once every 2 nights. And then as I progressed, once I got to 38 weeks and I was closer to full term, I used it religiously, nightly. 2 capsules nightly. Again, if you want more details or instructions on how to use these or how I used them, go ahead and DM me and I will give you all of the details. All right, so that's about it for physically. The second tip that I have to prepare your body for labor is, this is a big one, fear control. Controlling your mind and putting boundaries on other people's voices. So what I mean when I say this is that fear is such a manipulative noun. It's a thing that can literally bind you and put you in a stronghold. And so birth is one of those things that throughout the decades and the millennia, we've heard stories, we've seen movies, we've read books about this atrocious amount of pain that a woman's body goes through, and it's the most traumatic experience, and that labor and delivering a child is something to be feared instead of something to be enjoyed or something to be viewed as a natural, God-designed mechanism. And so, excuse me, I had coffee. It's just horrible. And so when you are expecting your first child, or when you yourself have had a very rough experience with your previous deliveries, once you get into that mode of, oh no, I'm expecting again, I don't want to feel this pain, I'm afraid of what this is going to be like, I'm afraid of how this is going to affect my body, my body's never going to be the same, it's going to hurt, and I don't know what I'm going to do, and etc., etc., etc. You get into this box of looking at labor and delivery as something to be dreaded, and instead of something that is necessary to bring life into the world. The way that you can control that is by not viewing it as something that is bad, not something that is painful, not something that is to be feared, but you can view it as God designed this. God made my body to do this. I can do this. And understanding that God's will is going to be done. When you have surrendered your body, your mind, and your child into the hand of God, and you let go of that fear, it changes everything. Fear affects your mind. It affects your muscles, the tension in your muscles, which fear can actually create pain. And so it may be an additional pain that you would not have gone through necessarily before, but because you were so afraid, it created a faux pain or a fake pain that is not real, but more so in your mind. Number 2 is putting boundaries on the voices of people. When you are having your first child, everyone is going to have something to say. Everyone is going to want to put a word in edgewise and give you their story about their birth and how they were in labor for 48 hours and how they had massive tearing and they were never the same again, and they had this gigantic baby and it was just a horrible experience. And again, with that, when you hear either unrealistically positive experiences or unrealistically traumatic experiences, it affects your mind and it affects the fear that is going through your mind. And so you need to tell yourself, enough. And again, that goes for me too. If what I'm saying puts unnecessary stress on you, turn off this video now and go read your Bible, go pray, and go ask the Lord to help you to stop feeling overwhelmed. When people want to give you advice, it is not because they are trying to traumatize you. It is because they're trying to connect with this pregnancy in their own way. They want to try to bond with the child that you're carrying, and it's almost an unconscious thing, and they want to help you even though it can be a non-helpful thing to you in reality. Number 3 is proper expectations. And this goes with boundaries, and this goes with fear. Having proper expectations for what is going to happen will, in the long run, make your labor easier. When you go into the delivery room and you say, I want all the drugs, go ahead, I'm only 1 centimeter and I'm feeling a little bit of discomfort, so I want to get that needle in right now because I don't want to feel anything, well, then you are not necessarily giving your body the best chance. I am not an all-naturalist. I'm not someone who says if you don't give birth the natural way, then you are poisoning your body or poisoning your child and you're not giving your body the chance that God designed it to be. I am not on that spectrum, and I am not on the side where I say, oh my word, if you put your body through the unnecessary stress and you're not taking advantage of progress, you're not taking advantage of advancement in medicine, then that is just stupid. And women have gone through this. If my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother knew the things that you had available to you today and that you did not take the drug, she would say you're insane. I'm not over there. I am more so like right here. I'm not an all medicinal person and I'm not an all naturalist. I am a conservative medicinal. There we go. I'm a conservative advocate for doing whatever you want to do, birthing your child the way that you want to do it. And again, it is not every labor is natural labor, whether it's medicated or unmedicated. Those are the proper terms. I had an unmedicated birth. I had a medicated birth, not I had a natural birth and a non-natural birth. There is no such thing as non-natural birth. Okay. Number 4. Yes, number 4 is viewing the contractions as waves, as ebbs and flows. When you are going into the first stage of labor, it's going to feel very much like Braxton Hicks, which you are going to be experiencing for weeks and weeks, sometimes months before the baby is actually ready to be born. You're going to be feeling that tightness and that pressure, and but once it's active labor, you're going to feel them come, strengthen, peak, and then weaken. Not weaken, but lessen and loosen. And they're going to come, and they're going to grow, and they're going to intensify, and they're going to peak, and then they're going to lessen. And the more you get into labor, the more fast those waves flow, the faster the movement goes in those waves, but they're never going to be here, 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 here. It's always going to be coming in a wave. And so when you are in the process of labor, when you view the contractions as, okay, here comes another one, and breathe your way through it until you reach the peak. and breathe your way out of it, it feels much more natural. It feels like you can know exactly what your body is doing, and it's not just I hurt, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. Okay, it's gone now, I can rest. Okay, I'm in pain. But you say, okay, it's growing. All right, let's go. Okay, here it is, it's coming. I can feel it coming. All right, it's here. Okay, we're coming down off that ride. When you feel it in different stages and you intentionally use your mind to identify where you are in the contraction, it can help you understand exactly where you are in labor. My first delivery versus my second delivery, I basically had an unmedicated labor with my first son all the way up until 15 minutes before he was born. And so I felt everything. I went through the entire process of early labor, active labor, transition, pushing, delivery by myself. And so for this second labor, I knew what to expect. I knew how quickly my body transitioned into the different stages, and I knew where the pain was going to go. And so because of that, I was able to control it a little bit more and know, okay, I'm about 5 centimeters right now. This is where my pain is going. Okay, that's getting a little bit more intense. Okay, this is where my body's about to go, and this is as much as I want to handle on my own before I get some assistance. And that helped me so much, so very much. Number 5 would be loosening your muscles. Just like number 1, wherever you're sitting right now, whether you're sitting in bed, you're sitting on the toilet, you're sitting in a chair, in the car, listening to me, wherever you are, I want you to identify what muscles in your body are tight right now and just relax. And when you do that right now, you probably realized, whoa, my neck was actually tense and I didn't even realize it. My shoulders were all tight and I didn't even know it because my brain was subconsciously, whatever I'm doing, I'm driving, my arms are really tight and I didn't even know that. As soon as you get a contraction, your first instant natural response is, that's uncomfortable, that is pressure and I don't like it. As soon as you realize that and you are intentionally using your mind to identify what you are feeling and what's going on in your mind, no matter how uncomfortable it is, loosen your muscles and realize, I'm in pain. I don't like saying pain. The doctors say pressure. I'm feeling some pressure. And loosen your muscles. And I promise you, the instant those muscles get loosened and you realize where the tension is in your body, the pain will go from a 10 or wherever you are, a 7 or a 5, and it will drop down several degrees. It works. I promise you, it works. Number 6 is water labor. This has become a popular way to labor and even deliver your child in the past 10 to 15 years. It's been around for as long as time has been here, but it's become really popularized by more natural labor videos and doulas and midwives that advocate for this. So laboring in water, the heat of the water can help your body to relax. When your mind is not there to tell you, hey, you need to loosen your muscles, the water kind of does that for you. The heat counteracts the intensity of the feeling that you are feeling. It also works as an anti-gravity, so the pressure you're feeling in your body, the water can really help the weight of the child that is bearing down on you. And it's just soothing. I mean, who doesn't love a hot bath to just relax your muscles? That's what you do when you are feeling sore, you're feeling tired, you get in the bathtub. And so for my first son, I had gotten to the delivery room, and about 2 hours in, I told them that I wanted to go in the tub. And so the instant I stepped into the tub, it felt so good. It felt great. And I fully anticipated going into the tub again this time. I told the nurse, I said, hey, I'm ready to use the tub, but everything moved so quickly with my second labor that I did not get a chance to labor in the tub. I feel like if I had labored in the tub, I probably would have delivered my child in the tub, which was not my preferred method. But you do you. Ask your hospital what's available to you, or if you're delivering at home, you know, that's something that's completely on you. Number 7 is counter pressure. This I learned about 3 weeks before I had my baby. I never heard about it when I was expecting my first one, and it is something I learned from Sarah Therese. And I heard her talking about using a comb during contractions, during labor, and I was like, there's no way this works. There's just no way. I have felt labor. I know exactly what it feels like, and there's no way a silly little comb can actually help. I was wrong. I was so wrong. This was my best friend in the labor and delivery room. You can ask my husband. If I had not had this, it would not have been nearly as enjoyable. This is a Bath & Body Works comb. It's a really nice, thick epoxy comb, wide tooth. So what I mean by counter pressure, you can do this in a variety of ways. You can use your support partner, whether that's your spouse or a doula or your mother or your sister, whoever you have with you in the delivery room. Counter pressure is basically adding pressure on whatever part of your body you want, whether it's your shoulders, your lower back, your hips, your arms, holding something and pushing against it, or having someone push against you as hard as possible. And that pressure counteracts the pressure that you're feeling from the contraction, and it tricks your mind into not feeling nearly as much discomfort. So for me, I was in bed when I was using this comb, and I took my hand and I put the teeth of the comb into the palm of my hand, and I squeezed it as hard as I possibly could. I squeezed it just like this, like it was as intense as I could. As intense as I felt the contraction was, that's how hard I squeezed, and I squeezed my other palm like this. And I waited, I said, okay, I feel it building. I feel it building. Okay, it's peaking. I'm squeezing as hard as I can. This worked. It's magic. I don't know what kind of sorcery it puts on your mind, but it works. Try it. I used a wide tooth comb. I think you can use it like a normal comb, but this is just what I had on hand, and it worked so well that the RN who was helping me before the doctor came to deliver Oliver, she was pregnant, and she was like, are you feeling okay? Are you feeling good? I was like, I feel amazing. I feel fantastic. I'm using the comb as counter pressure. And she was making notes. She made notes on the evening primrose oil. She made notes on the comb. She made notes on a bunch of different techniques I was using for her delivery later on this year for her first child. And she's like, I'm gonna try this comb trick. This works. This is amazing. I used the comb from the moment I got to the hospital until my son is crying. Hendrik is crying. Okay, I'll get him in just a little bit. I used this up until I got my epidural, and then I didn't need it, clearly. Number 8 is movement. Movement, using your voice and using a yoga ball. Laboring, where's that a dog outside? It's a dog outside. It's not my son, it's a dog. That's so funny. Movement is your best friend when you are in labor. Laboring in bed or just staying in bed or sitting down is the worst, like one of the worst things you can do as far as controlling or managing the discomfort. So when I was in early labor, I was at my in-laws' house. It was my father-in-law's birthday, and we were having dinner, and I was just having like 2 and 3 level pain out of 10, like a 2 and 3, just irritable, uncomfortable, annoying pain. And so when I was eating dinner, I was just kind of like rocking back and forth. I was swaying, just eating my dinner. I was not hungry. It was so annoying. It wasn't painful. It was just like, ugh, doesn't feel good. This isn't nice. And then we finished dinner and we decided we want to play a board game. It's my father-in-law's birthday. We want to have a little like enjoyment. We played Catan. We brought Catan out. And by then my level was like a 3-4, like a 3-4 out of 10 pain. And so I was sitting down. I was like, this is not feeling good. The intensity, it's getting too intense for this early. So I stood up and I leaned over the chair and I stuck my hips out and I was just rocking back and forth. And that movement helped so much. When you get to the hospital, move as much as you can. Walk around, use the counter pressure, have your spouse be able to like lean on him or lean on your mother or lean on anyone. Just don't stay in bed. Move around. Number 2 is using your voice. You learn this in karate. You see it in different things. When you need strength, and we see this in prayer too, when you're interceding and you're praying, what do you use? You use your voice, moanings and groanings. And it is amazing what works. Either using like a deep humming vibration, oh, and not screaming like you see in films. Like that's unrealistic. Unrealistic expectations is thinking you're going to be screaming and writhing in pain. That's not real. But using your voice to bring vibrations into your muscles can help you feel more control in your mind. Number 3 would be using a birthing ball. Sitting on a birthing ball helps to open up your pelvic floor, open up your pelvis to help the baby get engaged more. Again, this is by squatting, walking, squatting in the tub, sitting on the edge of your bed, sitting on the birthing ball and kind of just rocking back and forth, getting on your hands and knees, moving. Get your body moving. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good, but it's what is necessary to get the baby into the next stage. Number 9 is breathing. Breathing. Breathing through the contractions. Again, this goes along with the ebbs and flows, the waves. This video is way too long, 30 minutes, oh my goodness. But breathing through the contractions. You start this from the very beginning. You don't start breathing properly and using breathing techniques when you are at the 9 pain and you're about to deliver. You start as soon as you feel the contractions and get your body into the rhythm of getting oxygen into your bloodstream, getting oxygen into your mind. Breathe in for 6, I think. And that, number 1, like I said, it oxygenates your brain, it oxygenates your blood, and it helps your mind to go in with the waves. Okay, it's building. Pushing down with those breaths. Do you notice I had a medicated labor and I have not mentioned medicine once? That is because that is my last form of pain control. And number 10 is medication. Woo! The moment you've all been waiting for. When I say managing pain in labor, you all think it's a one-stop shop. Just get an epidural and that's the way you manage your pain. No. For me, this is my personal choice. You do whatever you want to. If you want to get the medicine put in as soon as you get to the hospital, you do you. If you don't want it at all, you do you. Whatever you want. Do your research. Pray about it, talk to your spouse about it, and make your own decision. For me, they sound like coyotes outside. I don't even know if you guys can hear that. They're so my labor, once I got to the hospital, I knew I wanted to labor on my own, but the ultimate goal, the ultimate plan was to get an epidural. My last pregnancy, my goal was to labor on my own as much as I could, the longest I could, and then when I felt like I couldn't handle it anymore, I would get the epidural. What I didn't know is that I labored all the way until I was 10 centimeters dilated. and then I got the epidural. They had no idea that I was that far along. If they did, they definitely would not have let me get it. They would have just said, okay, you're ready to have this baby. We're gonna have this baby now. The reason, and there are a lot of people that would say, well, if you've already felt the worst of the pain, why would you want to get an epidural, or why would you want it the second time around? If you've already gone through it, you know what to expect, and you know you can get through it. For me, my labor went so quickly with my first son. It was 8 hours that I did not have time to, my mind was not there. My mind was so focused on the discomfort I was feeling that I did not have time to think about, I'm about to push out this child, I'm about to become a mother, I'm about to meet my son for this first time, I'm about to see my husband become a father and watch his face as his son enters the world. I was so focused and distracted by my discomfort that I couldn't prepare myself mentally for what was about to come. And so my reason for getting an epidural was not to manage my pain. It was to minimize my pain and to help with that. That was a great benefit for it. But I wanted time to be able to really relax my body, relax my mind, and prepare myself. And so when you do your research, you realize that epidurals can come in a variety of strengths. Typically, just because the majority of people don't want to feel pain, they're going to start you out with a higher dose of an epidural. Some hospitals start you low and wait for you to ask for more, but most of them realize the median is like not low and not high, and they will just give you that general amount. When the anesthesiologist came in, I told her I want the lowest dose possible. It's not a Tylenol. It is the Tylenol's not going to touch it once you get to that point. Tylenol's nothing. I said, I want to feel pressure. I want to feel the contractions. I want to feel the discomfort, but I just want to take the edge off. And so I got my epidural. I could still feel the contractions. I could still feel the baby moving. I could still feel everything when I was delivering my son. And it was amazing because I was not at a 10 level pain. I was about a 2 or 3 level discomfort. And so I was not numb from the waist down. I was not like dead to the world, can't feel anything. And with that, because I was not at a completely dead leg, can't feel anything, I was able to know exactly where my son was in my body. And me, the doctor, and I worked together delivering my child, and it made it the easiest, fastest delivery. Literally, the nurses were out of the room. I got my epidural, the nurses walked out of the room. I said, I'm gonna rest. Kevin took a 30-minute nap. I laid there and I felt the contractions. I was just praying and I was thinking, just like, again, preparing my mind, preparing my body. I'm about to meet my son. I'm so excited. I'm about to have 2 children come into this world, and I'm a mother of 2 now, thinking about all these things. And then I realized I can feel him. It is this, I know exactly where he is, and it's time to have a baby. And I'm the one who told the nurse, hey, this baby's about to come. Y'all need to get in here. I'm the one who told them that. They didn't check me and said, okay, it's time to push out a baby. No, because I understood what level of medication I wanted. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, understand what expectations that you have for your delivery. So again, number 1, physical, mental preparation. 2, fear control and boundaries. 3, proper expectations. 4, contractions come in waves. 5, loosen the muscles. 6, water labor. 7, counter pressure. 8, movement and sound. 9, breathing. And number 10, the last one, is medication. I really hope this helped you. This video was a lot longer than I anticipated it being, but yeah, if you guys have any questions or any like tips that you want to add in, something I may have forgotten, or further details on anything I mentioned, feel free to message me. But I hope this helped.